Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to yet another episode of the Wrestle Geek podcast. That's right. I'm Mitch, your host, one of your hosts, and we are here talking Wrestlemania. That's right, Wrestlemania is behind us, and I'm joined along with, as always, he has returned, ladies and gentlemen, from the dark side, if you will. What's up, Rich? Glad to have you back, brother.
Glad to be back, guys. Came back from the honeymoon, had a fantastic time with the wife. Absolutely awesome time. You know, I missed you guys for 2 weeks. Looking forward to getting this episode recorded and moving forward. Get a lot of good stuff. WrestleMania was incredible. The Fallout was incredible. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, we missed you too, brother, and me especially. Like it was weird not talking to you for that long of time, but I didn't want to bother you during your honeymoon. You hear enough of me throughout the year, so I gave you a break. But I'm glad to have you back, and you were very sorely missed. And speaking of which, joining us as always from across the seas in lovely United Kingdom, Howie. What's up, baby?
Good evening or good day to you, gentlemen. I'm happy to be here once again on the Wrestle Geek podcast. Rich, once again, congratulations on your marriage and on having an awesome honeymoon as well. Have you got a tan? You must have got some sunshine.
I did. Thank you so much, Howie. I appreciate it. I definitely did. The weather was fantastic down there. You know, we went to the Bahamas. The water was so crystal clear. It was like mid-80s. Hung out in the shade a little bit. Did a little snorkeling. You know, good stuff. A lot of good stuff.
Great stuff, man. That sounds awesome. Yeah, that's what you need after having the long winter, arduous winter. And then,
I'm telling you, though, as soon as we hit like the Carolinas coming back up, though, it like went from like 85 and 70s down to like low 50s. Like you really felt like the complete change in the temperature. The wind was howling. It was just crappy in the ocean. I'm like, oh god, we're going back to the Northeast. Turn the ship around, back to the Bahamas, please.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not afraid of the ocean. I mean, I was actually an avid swimmer when I was younger. I had medals and trophies and stuff. But I don't know to be on a ship for that long. I've never been on a cruise such as Norwegian or Carnival or any of those. I mean, I guess I'm always down to try something once, within reason, of course. I after a while you got used to it, though, right, Rich?
Oh yeah. I mean, you probably feel for the first time like maybe like the first day at sea because you got to get used to the rockiness of it. You know, but, I mean, you adjust to it pretty quickly. I mean, if you get into a little bit of bad weather, the chip gets a little rockier, so you will feel yourself kind of tilting back and forth. Not like crazily, though, but you'll definitely feel like the equilibrium kind of shifting and stuff. But, I mean, it's a ton of fun. Just being out in the middle of the ocean, something so vast, it's just amazing. You know, just being out there like that. And just not even that, but the scenic sunsets and the sunrises, it's something that if you definitely can do it sometime, definitely do it. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna put that on my bucket list. That's for sure. What do you say, boys? We get right into the meat and potatoes, as I like to say. Go right into
Absolutely.
WrestleMania.
Yeah. Let's serve up that meat and a side of those potatoes.
Starting off WrestleMania pre-show, which I mean I've said it before, but I feel like WWE, and maybe this is my mistake, but I'm sure this has happened to other folks. The time frames of everything just seemed like they were so unclear. That like they said the pre-show was starting at 5, but then it was, then there was something else starting at 6, and then 7:00 was the main show. Like I didn't know about that for some reason. I thought everything started at 6 or 7, and me and Richie were watching it together with our families, and we kind of and some other friends, of course. But we kind of missed out on this stuff watching it live. I had to go back and rewatch it after we had already seen WrestleMania in its entirety. So, but in any case, I did see it. But it just kind of stinks that the timeline was a little skewed.
Yeah, they really just announced. You could have like the 2 battle royal matches, then you could have the cruiserweight final, but they really didn't put any timestamp on it. It was 5 to 6 was on the network, but then 6 to 7 was on the USA network over here in the States, and then obviously the 7:00 was the main event as far as WrestleMania beginning from 7 to 12. It was very long. I will say that it was a very, very long event, but in a positive note, I think it was probably one of the best WrestleManias that we have seen in years, honestly.
Absolutely, and I agree 100%. I know there was some naysayers out there that thought the you know, it wasn't as good as it, it didn't live up to the hype, but I feel like it did in a lot of different respects, and I respected the hell out of this WrestleMania. You know, what about you? What about you, Howie? I mean, before we get started, what was your overall overall take on it?
Yeah, I think I had a similar issue with the timing thing. I googled it, and because in the UK it basically started at midnight, and I thought that was like starting at midnight for the pre-show. So when I did actually finally tune in, it was I watched half of it before I fell asleep. Basically, not because it's boring, but just because I had to go to sleep and I was going to watch it the next day. But yeah, when I started watching it was from the first match of the main show, so that was the IC Championship match,
right?
So I was a bit like, oh, okay, because that before that I had actually was watching on the network the NXT event, the Takeover New Orleans, and finished that. So that was I watched that the day after that happened, and didn't realize that actually while I was watching that, the pre-show was actually on, and I could have just been watching all of that. But yeah, I thought Mania, like you say, I thought it overall was very good. Yeah, online, I already noticed, there's loads of people naysaying, but let's face it, happy wrestling fan or content wrestling fan is an oxymoron. You know, it's like it doesn't happen. It doesn't go together. It's opposites, isn't it? Wrestling fans are never happy. And let's face it, if we were happy all the time, we wouldn't have podcasts to do. We'd just all be sat. We'd all just be sat around going, "What did you think?" Just like, "Oh, mate, it's brilliant. Just everything is just brilliant. I love it." And that's the industry is such that we all just think we could do it better and that we could be part of the booking committee. I don't know if they have a booking committee. Imagine if they called it that, the WWF booking committee. Mitchell, are you present? It'd be brilliant. What did you think of the booking? But overall, thought it was good. I love WrestleMania generally, and yeah, it was a special time. And let's dissect WrestleMania from this.
There we go. Well, the first match was technically the first match was the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, Memorial Battle Royal, which I'm always a big fan. I love Battle Royals. I love the Royal Rumble. I'm always a big fan of those type of matches. I thought it was pretty solid. You know, it wasn't anything extraordinary, but it wasn't anything shabby either. So, and the outcome was great too. I mean, I appreciated that Matt Hardy won, and I'm happy that they're giving him a little bit more time to shine in the limelight. And I'm kind of liking this whole Hardy Wyatt thing going on, and it makes sense actually for once. With the whole that he got thrown in the lake and everything like that, and I like that they're keeping that alive too. And
a cool interesting point with this is that now you have Bray, who's usually the guy that's leading the storylines, now being into the supporting role with Matt being the leader in the role. You know what I mean? In the storyline. So it's a little bit of pressure off for Bray Wyatt. He's not going to be doing his usual gimmicky thing. It's just it puts a new spin on the entire storyline to begin with these two guys, and it's got massive potential. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see these guys take the Raw Tag Team titles.
Absolutely, because they're in that. They got entered in last minute to that. They were like the mystery team to face what do you call when they came out? So at Raw,
Titus Worldwide.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't predictable.
Yeah, I thought the Battle Royal was it was a cluster funch. But it was good to see. I like this annual element of it. That even if it's on the main show or the pre-show, it's still cool thing to have. Everyone just starts off in the ring, rather than a Royal Rumble where they kind of drip fed in. Just goes crazy, and there's two ways of looking at it. The choices that they're going to have, they could in previous years they've put people over, like Cesaro when he won. It was kind of like helping to establish talent, give him a bit more cachet. Whereas with Matt Hardy, it's a different slant. I don't think they've done it in this manner before, where they've taken it. What it was useful for is like taking a current storyline that needs something to bring it into WrestleMania and give it presence, because they weren't actually doing. They chose not to have the compound match at WrestleMania. Obviously, they've done that in Raw, one of the Raws prior to WrestleMania. So it's good to give it presence and kind of have Bray Wyatt come back, and the crowd were really, really hot for it, weren't they? They were just like, delete, going crazy. And it was a good image at the end, wasn't it, to have Matt Hardy stood there with Bray Wyatt down in front of him, and everyone's got all the wrestling marks are all just there, aren't they? En masse at WrestleMania, so they're just like delete, going crazy, and they look really good. Yeah, so I was pleased with it.
And it's cool too because it definitely has like the potential to once again become they can rekindle the fire of the feud, because eventually Bray Wyatt's gonna be like, I don't take orders from nobody, blah blah blah, and then that's how he could turn on Matt Hardy, immediately making Matt Hardy the face and him the heel again, Or they could even do something else, to surprise us, which, that's very rare nowadays. But, they could even do something where Matt Hardy, like, tries to slap him around or something like that, and Bray Wyatt comes out as the face, of the breakup. So, that's what I'm always thinking of. Like, how is this going to end? Because,
I could see more so, like, Matt Hardy going into the heel role and then having Bray become the face.
Yeah. I mean, either way is acceptable, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad either way, But, Bray Wyatt should have he's over as F too, so I think they should, they should give him a nice run as a face too, But who's to say they're not faces now? They're just weird. That doesn't mean, I don't know. We'll see how it unfolds.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we had the Cruiserweight Championship match. We had Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. Again, I had to go back and watch this.
I thought that was Sub-Zero. I thought it was Sub-Zero coming out.
Yeah, he had that hand laser gadget on his hand, and the
Whoopsie!
LED. He had a flipping. He had a bloody LED face. Yeah, very Sub-Zero-esque face mask thing. That to me was just like that was so like WrestleMania try hard. Do you know what I mean? It was just like I usually have a really boring outfit, and now it's just very straightforward, isn't it? Because all I wears just like kick pads and black with a bit of design on it and things like that. It's got a bit of an image, but to it's come out with that full on kind of Max Moon-esque. If they did Max Moon now, that's what it would be. Mustafa Moon, that's what I should call him. Yeah, that was funny. And Cedric Alexander, actually, speaking of the attire, throughout the whole of WrestleMania, actually, I thought they didn't make enough of entrances. Only a few key people in the whole show got really big and really kind of what I would call WrestleMania entrances. A lot of the others, like, who naturally would fit that really well, didn't get it as much. Like
one person I was surprised that was Finn Balor. Didn't come out as a demon.
Yeah,
totally. You would think it's something like that. It's like, he's going to be at the demon. And we're like, no, he's not as regular Finn Balor. It's like, what?
Actually, that gimmick. I mean, I know I don't want to, I want to rise above hate, with all this stuff. But I do find that gimmick that he's got at the moment with the whole LGBT thing.
I don't like it.
I find it really cringeworthy. It feels very forced, very contrived.
I'm with you, and it's not that I'm anti. I'm not anti.
That was utterly embarrassing. That bit when
and
he
I'm
comes
not.
out,
I'm not anti-gay or anything, but
they're making him wear rainbows.
Yeah,
he's not a homosexual man. No problem if he was. I would still be a fan of him.
Me too.
But he's not. But they're forcing him to have this. It's like to me, it's actually too political for wrestling. I think. I mean, I believe in inclusion, but I do actually think that when it comes to these matters, there is a political standpoint on it, and I think that it's that I feel like it's a bit much for. I don't know.
It doesn't really have a place.
They really shouldn't have it based on one individual. They should have it more of as like a campaign in general,
like they do with the Connor's Cure and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's something like that. Like don't base the entire thing, like the LBG community, like on one guy. If it's such a big presence nowadays, that it should be put out even further as a whole. As a whole spectrum on a wider platform,
and like how we said, like if he was a part of the gay community, like then it would make more sense to put it on him.
Darren Young,
exactly. I was just going to say that
he is a gay man, and he was proud and open about this, and very honest and very transparent in this.
And they did nothing with it at the time.
And they never did anything with that.
Right.
Now they could have, if they wanted to do that gimmick, they could have done that very, very, very well with him, and it would have been believable, and it would have been an excellent thing for them to do with a man who is, that is how he lives his life. And
Yeah,
he's
and
proud to
if
do
you're
so.
Finn Balor, like
But Finn Balor,
let's just say you're Finn Balor and you're uncomfortable with the whole thing. How do you go up to them and say, "Hey, I'm not really comfortable with this," Like then it'll just be like, "Oh, that guy, he's hating on the gay community." You know what I'm saying? So like
he was in a rock and a hard place with that one.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no back talk there. You know what I mean? Like how do you?
Obviously, they're not saying anything like that. I mean, obviously, he's going out with Kathy Kelly, and so he's a red-blooded male, So,
Right.
but he's, but just this whole thing, and it's supposed to be the idea, the inclusion of everybody and things like that. But that whole entrance, where, like you say, he could have been the demon, which, let's face it, is cool, sells really well, is productive. And great for merchandise. The kids were looking onto it. They're selling masks and action figures and T-shirts, and they love that gimmick. Now they've stripped him down to be a generic guy who wears black pants, a leather jacket, smiles a lot, now has rainbows on him. I mean, talk about demasculinizing. Is that a term? Demasculinating? I don't know.
Demasculating.
Yeah, they're like that. It's like this. Yeah, for me, it's like. I mean, I don't want to, like I say, rise above hate. I'm totally cool with it. It's good, but
I have several friends, several coworkers, and several actually quite a few family members that are homosexual or gay. So I have nothing against anybody that's in the gay community or anything like that. It's just but it's exactly what you're saying too. Like you're not against it. But it just doesn't. Why do you have to change the whole guy's gimmick? You know what I'm saying? Like his appearance. Yeah, It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it would have just sat better if it was with Darren Young. If they could have brought him back and
he could if they wanted to do such a wide platform for that community, have him as the ambassador for it. You have all these ambassadors, like it's like I said, I have nothing against any.
Like, are they gonna? And I don't mean this in a racist way either, but. Are they going to have a white guy do something for Black History Month? You know what I mean? Like, is going to be the representative for Black History Month? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's, I don't know. I think
that entrance was terrible, where he comes out and he's got, look at all these members of the LGBT community, and they're like, yeah, go for it, champ. And it was just, woo! And it's just like, what the heck? It was
cringeworthy. That was very cringeworthy. I even said something as he was coming out. Richie was sitting right next to me. I sat next to Richie the whole night. We said, even I turned to him and I said, all right, and the worst entrance in WrestleMania history. And as they were standing there, you know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't a knock to the gay folks. It was just, that was just it.
It just isn't. It's just not. I mean, it's not. To me, that's just not cool. And it's also, I just don't think, like I say, I just think it's got too much of a political stance as well for wrestling. Wrestling's about escapism, and we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't want to bring in things where it's like talking about like
controversial issues
because it can become a very sensitive issue. And I know we should be open about it and be able to talk. And wrestling, and media in general, entertainment should be used as a platform to be able to bring people together on these issues.
I mean, you look at old gimmicks. I mean, you can look like back, in the past, like when they had controversial kind of gimmicks, with different stars, and they went also that kind of direction when they had Billy and Chuck. Don't forget.
Yeah, and then at the end they were like, "We're not gay," That's what they were. Yeah.
I mean, you got to say, this is being done in a bit more of a classier way than what Billy and Chuck.
Yeah, that was a little bit more disrespectful.
That was kind of like that was really kind of cartoon, and they were kind of like taking the mick a bit. But with this, it's kind of. It has been done in a kind of an interesting way. They've not done it before. I mean, apparently, from what I heard from a Dave Meltzer article, was that the initial plan, it was from this is Stephanie McMahon's idea, and the initial plan was that they actually wanted Finn Balor to, in an acting sense, to actually come out as being a gay man, even though he's not. They wanted him to.
I would have said no to that. I don't care how much money you pay me.
I'm not kidding. This is Dave Meltzer. That the initial plan for this gimmick was that they wanted him to basically pretend that was how he lived his life in order to bolster this this story that they're doing. For me, it's like, again, how does this really apply to pro wrestling other than having a political statement? How do you make storylines on this? Because you can't add into this. What's going to happen? Could you now have, I don't know, take a heel like Jinder Mahal, okay? So what they're going to do? They're going to do a storyline where Jinder Mahal comes out and he goes, "I hate the way you live your life. I'm basically anti LGBT." No, they're not going to.
They can't do that. So what's the point of even turning him gay? You know what I mean? Like,
they're not going to walk that. They're not going to walk that. They're not going to go nuclear on it like that, because if they did, it's going to look bad for the company. And so all it is it's just this thing now where you've got Finn Balor with this gimmick that can do nothing other than him having to just wear a rainbow on his, and to me, that's just, you've got a guy who is not homosexual, who is who's incredibly athletic,
and they thrust him into this uncomfortable situation,
and they thrust him into this. Yes, and it's kind of unfair, really. And I mean, how there's no
upside.
There's no upside and there's no mileage to this. So to me, it's a really, really pointless thing.
And it's not like, and I know some people will probably like, oh, what about Goldust? Goldust was a totally different thing. He was supposed to be like a weird character, and he was an actor, like technically. He was portraying somebody who was an actor. Remember, he used to do the movie quotes and all that stuff. Yeah. And that was completely different. He was using it as like a mind game, like, touching the wrestlers and stuff like that. It wasn't that he was, just a full-blown gay guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really brought out what was incredible about that character is how it brought out the people's homophobic fear, and it played on that, and it was extremely clever for the time as a character. We'd never seen
it was ahead of its time, and it was groundbreaking. Like I think, and it was and an amazing character too.
It was a completely new way to create a heel. That cerebral approach, but with this, it doesn't have that much value other than this kind of way of them projecting a political viewpoint where they're like, hey, look, we're really cool and we're really accepting, and look, everyone's included in this macho sport we have. We like everyone to watch it. And it's kind of like, okay, they've taken it. But as a gimmick for wrestling, there's no fuel, there's no mileage. And so and for me, it just feels so forced and so contrived. And that whole thing, it just didn't come across as cool or anything. I mean,
no,
give him back the demon gimmick. I bet if they do, I don't know, maybe I'll have like pink streamers and pom poms and.
Oh jeez.
I don't know, but where did we get to? How did we get to? Finn Balor?
We were talking about. Well, I don't know. You skipped there, and you were talking about the Sub-Zero entrance. But Cedric Alexander won the Cruiserweight Championship, which is, it's okay. I mean, I don't like or dislike him, so it's. I'm okay with it, I guess. You guys?
Yeah, I mean, Cedric Alexander, I mean, he's well respected, isn't he?
Yep.
He deserves
Great performer.
So, and then we had the women's battle royal, which was a pretty good match too. After watching, Naomi won at the end. Again, this was okay. I mean, I think I enjoyed the men's match a little bit more for once. I mean, unlike the Royal Rumble where I enjoyed the women's match more. This was the kind of the reverse now. So I enjoyed the men's match more than the women's match. And Naomi won. Like, is it going to help her or hurt her? I don't know. It's just, she just won. I don't think there's any fantastic outcome from it, So, what do you guys think?
No, Naomi?
I agree.
I kind of was a bit baffled. I thought it was a bit of a waste again to Naomi, in all honesty.
Yeah.
When she won, I was like, really? I thought you got so much kind of talent coming up in this particular genre of female pro wrestling. Ruby Riott would have been a fantastic choice. Yeah, well said. I mean, she's really on the rise, and she's doing really well. I think I've been really impressed with her in the last year. How she's a very confident speaker, excellent in-ring performance. She did really great with that match with Charlotte recently. So someone like that would have been excellent, because she's also a big part of the programming, the current product. put Naomi to me.
Anybody. I mean, even Mandy Rose or Sonya Deville would have been cool too. You know, like one of those.
Somebody, one of the younger superstars that came and that actually can build themselves upon us. Like, okay, you had Baron Corbin that won it for the guys last year. What did he wind up doing? He had Money in the Bank. He became the United States champion. He built upon it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like his career went up a little bit. He was noticed for that. You know, so, like you were saying earlier, Cesaro put him on the map. How he lifted the Big Show up and threw him over the top rope. You know, built upon that. You're taking somebody who's not really who's noticed now, but their platform can be raised so much higher by getting a higher accomplishment. And if they're not going to get a title shot immediately, the next best thing to do is on the grandest stage is have them win that battle royal, because that's kind of in a way a stepping stone if you think about it going forward for these younger superstars.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, but I feel like that Andre the Giant battle royal is also like a curse too when you think about it.
Yeah,
it's like Big Show won the first one, right? But his career was already like basically winding down, right? Then you had Cesaro won the next one, right? And I mean, it did
Cesaro
help.
won the first. Big Show won the second.
Right. So in any case, Cesaro, but it didn't really do anything for his career if you think about it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like this. Like remember years ago when people won the Royal Rumble and they went on to fight for the world title at WrestleMania? Yeah. It was like a big deal. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, it was the Royal Rumble, but these battle royals are kind of like they almost have like a black cloud over them. You know what I mean? And Big Show's, again, so I flip-flopped them by accident. But Big Show, his career, like I said, was winding down already, so it didn't really make a difference. Baron Corbin, like, what did it really do for him? You know what I mean? Like, in the ultimately, like, where is he now? You know what I mean?
He's just in. I just think he's still in his. He's not green per se. He's just
right.
He's kind of in
he
this
has a long way to go though. Like I feel like
he's just. I just don't feel like he's callous enough.
Right.
In that kind of. I think I said in a previous week that he's. If you think about who Stone Cold Steve Austin was and Steve Williams, the man who portrayed Steve Austin, where he was stunning Steve Austin before, and I feel like Baron Corbin is currently in his stunning Steve Austin stage.
But just far less talented though.
He's just I think he is talented. He's got obviously naturally a very gifted athlete.
But
people were drawn to him early on. I think a lot of
stunning Steve Austin was way more talented than Baron Corbin. There's no argument there. Like Steve Austin was an unbelievable talent.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mean it as a simile in who they are.
No, I know what you meant though. Like he's in his
career.
He's in his embryonic stage right now. He's like,
I mean, they did try with Cesaro after the battle royal.
Yeah, Vince McMahon took an axe to that though.
They did push him a bit, didn't they? Do that? Was it after that they tried the Paul Heyman guy thing?
Yep.
Was that after that? And,
or was it before?
I think it was before.
Yeah, because he still had that other music that Swedish music.
Yeah, they did try. They tried on a number of occasions to give him a push, and for some reason it didn't click at that time.
I think as Vince felt he didn't have a true personality to connect with the fans, and he kept nixing it.
That's what I'm saying. He put an axe to it. He definitely put the kajbash on it. And it's kind of similar what's going on, I guess, with Finn Balor in a way, because I think he feels that Vince feels that Finn's not over. And he's getting put down. It's like further down the list of what his actual caliber could be as a performer. Right.
Yeah. I mean.
Well, speaking of which, we actually we're up to that match now. So speaking of Finn Balor, we have The Miz, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins in a 3-way for the Intercontinental title.
So the White Walker, Seth Rollins.
Oh.
Yeah, that's cool.
Looking from that was actually pretty cool.
He actually looked really cool with those contacts on.
Yeah, he really did.
I remember, I think Richie was the first one to spot them. He's like, does he have blue contacts on?
Yeah.
We were like, oh, shoot. Because at first you really couldn't tell because there was just so much going on with the LED screens
lighting and stuff, yeah.
But Richie was like, oh, does he have contacts? I was like, wow, he actually looks cool. And then I think one of our buddies, Jay, who was also on the podcast at one point, he looked it up, right? He looked up like what the actual name of it was or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so then Rollins won to become the new Intercontinental Champion. I think this match was very, 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 very good. I enjoyed this match a lot. It was a great way to kick off.
took the words out of my mouth. Great, exactly the first best way to start the night off for WrestleMania with a great high octane match with three great individuals in their gimmicks.
And
even though I know you're not that high in Seth Rollins, Mitch, I know that.
Oh God.
I remember there's the one point where he's lifting up for the running power bomb like in the corner. We're like, no, God, don't put him down, please.
You just ended his career, pal. But I was gonna say it was a great way to kick off WrestleMania because for us it actually did kick off WrestleMania. Because we didn't get to see those other matches thanks to the time confusion.
It was the same for me. It was the first match I saw. I was in bed. I went to bed. I put WrestleMania on. There it was. Saw the entrances. Thought, what the is that? The set looked great. Actually, I really thought that.
I know Richie was on the fence about it at first. I thought it looked cool, and then once it started changing and shit, Richie was like, "All right, that's pretty cool."
Yeah, if they didn't change the design of it, and I was like, "This is the way it looked the entire night," I'm like, But then when they started using different graphics with it, I'm like, okay, they're incorporating it with the gimmicks of the Titantron videos,
and that was
it's actually pretty cool.
Because the way that I guess the LCD or whatever it is or LED screens that they use, like from far away, it looked like it wouldn't change. Like it looked so good and so realistic that the mask actually looked like a mask, like the Mardi Gras mask.
That's what I really thought. I thought it was like a prop, a stage prop. I'm like, oh, this looks.
And that,
shit.
I mean, kudos to them, man. They must have put so much money into that stage. Like, who knows how much that thing cost? You know what I mean?
They went over the budget already. They ain't gonna be doing any kind of pyro or lighting anything until next year's WrestleMania.
Couple of hundred thousand on a screen, on a stage and a screen, you know.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure they'll find a way to reuse it somehow. But I can only imagine what kind of budget they had to make that thing. You know, that was crazy. But
it was insane. It looked great. I mean, but that's what you'd be disappointed if it was just like a really plain arena. It's WrestleMania. It's got to have. I mean, I actually thought it was a fairly modest set in terms of size. I mean, previous years we've had like massive ones and
roller coasters and the skyline and all that stuff. Yeah,
but this was smaller and more compact. But had more technology, and they did that kind of 3D effect with some of the wrestlers as they came out. They had that 3D, I guess, graphic that was on the screen as it rotated round. They did a bit of that. That was different. But the match,
I wasn't a big fan of the CGI stuff that they were doing, like with the masks.
No, that was very cheesy. Very cheesy.
I think the 3D thing has already passed. I mean, 2 years ago they were pushing 3D TVs and doing movies, and it feels like now it's already gone again.
I'm happy I didn't buy one.
Yeah,
came and went real quick.
Yeah, that's what she said. But but hey, I wasn't. We were both saying it at that night how cheesy it looked. It's like you had this so far advanced technology with the screens and everything and the LED show and all, and then all of a sudden you got like these. It looked like CGI from like 2001, like the masks and everything like that. I mean, I get what they were trying to do, but it didn't. I preferred the DX split screen back in the day where they showed the DX video on top of the entrance. You know what I mean? Like that felt to me more advanced than the CGI they were trying to put off on us during the WrestleMania. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
cool.
but overall, it was a good match. You know, I was happy Seth Rollins didn't end anybody's career, and it was good. It was a good match. I really enjoyed it. So.
And do you know what? I was just thinking actually when they tried Finn Balor's gimmick that they're doing at the moment, it reminds me of a failed gimmick that they tried with Ted DiBiase Jr. before he moved on to pastures new, i.e., outside of wrestling. So he was like the $1 Million Man's son gimmick, and then after that they tried something where they called it the DiBiase Posse, and they would show Ted DiBiase Jr., I don't think he ever came across as being that charismatic a guy.
No.
Not like I don't know, kind of like I don't know.
No, he definitely didn't take after his father with the charisma and the character and all that stuff.
He's quite a reserved guy, but so they tried to do this thing. They're like, here, look, it's Ted DiBiase with the DiBiase Posse, and they're like fans going woo. It's like they'd totally been told to stand there. They were like, do you know what I mean? They're just like, you fan. want to come over here and do this skit for Ted DiBiase? Like, will I be on TV? Yeah, sure. And then everyone runs over and they're like, "Here, wear this T-shirt that no one buys." And everyone's like, "Yeah, DiBiase passing." Yeah, it didn't work. And he was like, "This is rubbish." And he was like, "I'm leaving." He's like, "I'm leaving wrestling completely, even though this was like the heritage of my family. I reject it. I no longer want part of it." That's
F this. I'm out of here.
Yeah, it's too forced when they try and do that. If it's not who they are, but Seth Rollins becoming Intercontinental Champion, it's great. You know, he deserves it. Clearly,
it's okay. It was okay. I would have preferred Finn Balor won, but
that's all to come, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's all to come. Then he can have a rainbow colored strap.
Oh yeah. All right. So up next we had Charlotte Flair versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and this was actually a really, really good match. I enjoyed it immensely, and it was actually a shocking finish because I think, like everybody else, I thought Asuka was actually going to win, and they did a little swerve here, one of the few swerves of the evening, and Flair actually won via submission. Nonetheless, it wasn't even a pin. Like Asuka lost. Via submission, which I thought was interesting. So, what was your take on this, Howie?
Yeah, like you say, she lost fair and square.
Yep.
And there's nothing more convincing than that. I was completely shocked by the victory of Charlotte. Now, when I mean completely shocked, not shocked in that I didn't feel that Charlotte was capable of doing so, or that she wasn't right to do so. It was more the fact that the booking was done so well that we were led to believe that Asuka was unstoppable, and that the apex point of the trajectory of this storyline was going to be her winning at WrestleMania. But this was done really well. Now, I think, like you say, she defeated her middle of the ring with the figure eight leg lock, and what was brilliant about it is that it helps to cement Charlotte's legacy. There was an excellent legacy builder to say that, you know, if anybody was going to be Asuka, it was going to be Charlotte Flair, and what a great stage to do it on. And I think at the end, the reception that she was given by the audience in attendance, you know, she got kind of a standing ovation. It was a very respectful response to her victory. And also, I really loved the ending with Asuka, how she kind of like she bid her congratulations to her for being ready for Asuka, and it was kind of a sweet ending. And actually, what was also surprising about the action in the ring for this was that in what I loved about this match, what it gave, not only with the ending being a surprise, but there were some brilliant spots in there that were really innovative and really excellent, really just beautifully put together. Firstly, the moonsault that Charlotte executed, and then she was captured into a triangle by Asuka. And secondly, it was like a moonsault slam that she nailed Asuka with. Now, I winced when they went for this spot. I was watching them as they were building up to it, and I thought, I can see what they're doing. Don't tell me you're going to do it. And I winced as they do it, because I thought, if you get the timing wrong on this, you're basically going to land on your head. And, you know, it wasn't a Brock Lesnar shooting star press moment. It was perfect.
Thank God.
Thank God, indeed. And it was perfectly executed, and they worked together beautifully. So I think I'm excited to see matches between these two again, because for me, I actually thought this was the match of the night. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it greatly.
It was a great match. What about you, Rich?
Definitely one of the top matches of the night. I mean, back and forth, the action was incredible. Like that one move, how he was explaining from the top rope. Me and Mitch were watching. Everybody at the house were going, "Oh my God!" when she actually hit it.
Yep.
We thought Asuka was dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
The way she went down, like, oh God, is she still alive? Is she still breathing?
Like, if you try and think of any other match in this whole evening, even in the main events between the guys, there wasn't any spots in there that were, you know, surprising in that way.
No, I agree.
I mean, I know there's usually table spots and things like that, but that happens quite frequently these days. They go on the outside and you get ready for that. But to have, you know, moves that are just kind of just very interesting moves and counters and things like that, which, you know, it's about the in-ring performance, and that brought something really, you know, noteworthy we're commenting on it now. So it wasn't just the result. It wasn't just the build up. It was the complete package. It had
absolutely
surprising in-ring action. And
absolutely.
it kind of put the guys to shame.
It really did. And how about that entrance to Charlotte? The Ric Flair music hitting first. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah,
was,
totally. I mean,
I remember I went so far to say I was like, this is entrance of the night.
it was. I mean,
loved it with the throne and everything like that. You know, there were no arguments, by the way. Everybody was like, yes.
It was cool because it started off with Flair's music, you know, the unfunked up version, and then it's the version with the beat and
with the porno background. Yes,
there's something a little bit camp about it as well. The music, you know, that she's like walking with these, you know, these guys, muscly guys dressed as Romans. You know, it's just like, here I come. You know, she's like, there's something a bit camp, but it kind of works. But it was great.
They should have incorporated that with the Finn Balor entrance. Maybe it would have went over a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, they totally could do that. Like, have him accompanied by Roman soldiers. I want to know who the Roman soldiers were. Was it like from NXT, like Dan Mather or something? And,
yeah, we were joking about that too. Remember, somebody said it. I think Richie even said it or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, one of them's Ember Moon. Remember that, Rich?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
but we can definitely say one thing though. If the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, not the Silver Dome, as Hulk Hogan would call
What'd
it.
you say, brother?
We're at I'm sorry, brothers. We're at the Superdome. If
he got excited. He got excited.
They gave her.
If there's gonna be a streak broken, it's always gonna take place in the Superdome because that's where the streak dies in that building.
Yeah, it's kind of like now it's gonna be one of those curses, like a curse of the of the
curse
Silver
Dome. It's the curse of the silver.
It's the curse of the Silver Dome, brothers.
It's funny because they gave her that entrance. Gave Charlotte that entrance, and then earlier on I think we ended up digressing on the Finn Balor point, but Finn Balor had that very interesting entrance where everyone go woo. It's quite straightforward in what it was. Charlotte had that, and actually that was quite straightforward. For if you think about the year prior, where Charlotte had the big thing with the fireworks and everything, that was probably bigger. These were kind of slightly smaller, more compact entrances, but actually they didn't do anything with like Bobby Roode. I know we'll get to that, but there were other people. Bobby Roode, when he was in NXT, had awesome entrances. Like he was coming up on lifts and being spun and coming down from the ceiling. He had a gospel choir singing "Glorious." He comes out on WrestleMania, which should be where you have your big entrance moment, and he just has a very straightforward flipping entrance. Anyway, we'll get to Bobby Roode.
Yeah, that was very bland, actually.
Yeah, but are we still on Asuka and?
Yeah, I think we're just about done with
Charlotte?
that. We're good.
Are we done with that? Yeah.
Yeah. So after that we have the Bobby Roode, Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal Rusev match. There you go. What a segue, Howie. You couldn't have planned that better. Jeez Louise.
There we go. I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Yeah, but you didn't. You didn't get very far at all. It was the next match.
I guess as I started, I guess I'll segue and continue the segue. Not like the inventor of the Segway, who actually drove his off of a cliff and killed himself. I think there's truth to that, in fact. So Bobby Roode didn't get the WrestleMania moment, which I thought he would by having an awesome entrance for a start. This match was, I thought it was pretty good. Actually, the booking going into it, I did predict the winner of this match correctly because it was classic setup of taking our attention off of Jinder Mahal. They made him appear to be completely inadequate and ineffective and almost like, why is he even in this match? Approaching it, it was very much Randy Orton and Bobby Roode kind of show. They were kind of focusing on them, and so because of the idea that they were just kind of leaving Jinder out, I thought it's likely, and it makes sense. It's the age-old thing, isn't it? Having the even though he's Canadian, having the foreign guy, being your United States champion, it gets a lot of heat. And and I'm sure there's going to be some cool booking that comes from that.
I was into this match. I wanted Rusev to win so bad. I was like screaming literally at the TV, and I thought at one point he was gonna at the end when it looked like he was gonna do the accolade, and then
yeah.
oh man, I was so happy, and then Jinder Mahal came in,
Yeah.
and basically took the match, but it was a good match overall.
It was okay. It wasn't. I think with a lot of these,
It was a
matches,
solid B.
it was
Solid B.
Yeah, it was solid, but it wasn't anything surprising,
No.
was it? Or other than Jinder winning,
Right.
but that was kind of just.
I
But
thought for sure Rusev was gonna win, but
That's what I thought. I really did. But also at the same time, like we're saying, it wasn't it wasn't a great match. But you look at what it followed. The crowd was kind of like a little bit exhausted
Right.
after watching Charlotte and Asuka.
Yep.
So it was it was definitely a toned down match.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, but it was a good match though. It was good. It was good to watch. I wasn't angry. I was angry that Rusev didn't win, but I wasn't angry at the match itself.
And what about the reaction Rusev got? And they say Rusev that 78,000 fans in unison. That was incredible.
Yeah.
He is so over right now.
And when he was about to put the accolade on, and they panned out, and you saw like all the people going crazy, it's like, what more of a sign does WWE need? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So.
I think they should repackage him with new music. I think keep him the same as he is, but they need to do something because his music is still very much from his past gimmick. Don't change the music too much. Remix it. So rather than it just being the straight dun 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 thing he's got going, like start it off with the chant. So so you actually hear the Rusev, and everyone's like, oh, here he is, and then he comes out, and then it's like do something with that theme, so you still recognize it's Rusev's theme.
Or in the beginning, they could be like he could have him talking, saying "Every day is Rusev Day," or something like that.
So that way they're kind of like admonishing that is his gimmick now, and that he's a face, and he's not the old Rusev as before. Completely go nuclear on this and push it, and let it, let it completely carry on. Like you say, he's over can be. But it's just the way it is. It's just they don't like it because it's not really a gimmick, is it? It's not like it's a gimmick in that it's his slogan, and people like chanting it, and I think they probably feel that it's like he's not really over. They just enjoy chanting, right? That's probably how they see it. They're probably like, he's not really over. It's just that they enjoy chanting that shit. Because Vince isn't a fan of this Rusev Day thing, and he just thinks it's just not real. But the truth is, that's still over. It's still getting a reaction in this day and age of wrestling. If you get a reaction, whether it's good or the worst reaction you can get in wrestling is no reaction.
Right.
If you can get an emotional response from the fans in any capacity, whether it be like, that's why even Roman and Cena, for as much as we want to slag them off and things like that and say, they're not ready for the brass rings, or Cena, or they're pushing him, we don't like it. He's getting booed or cheered, and whether that's why they never changed it. They carried on that route because at least he was always getting a reaction. Apathy is the enemy in pro wrestling these days. If when somebody comes, when you see someone come out with a new gimmick and it is just silent, you're like, you're going to be fired. That is the worst thing. But they should repackage him. Does he then go on a program now with Jinder for the US title? Is that probably the wisest thing? Keep him at mid card.
Well,
I think it's probably what's going to wind up happening.
It is. And I was even saying this. I've been saying this for a while, but I was saying it that night too. I was like, I wish that Rusev would just win a world title. Like I'd like to see him win at least once. You know what I mean? In his career, I don't see why not. The man seems to be professional and doesn't hurt people, and he's very impressive, and he's in the best shape of his life too. I remember
he's young. He's young as well.
Me and Richie were very impressed by his appearance. We were saying about how great of shape he was in at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
We're like, Richie's like, look at his neck. I was like,
dude, his traps are ridiculous. It just shows you he's very dedicated to being the best he could possibly be.
Yeah, and he seems like a cool dude.
He does.
But they can make so much money with him, and I don't know why they're not. That's my issue. But we can't fight City Hall sometimes. So
I like that. I like that term.
AKA Vince McMahon.
I'm Vince McMahon, damn it. And then the next match, very impressive in my opinion. I was really into the match. Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. I have zero complaints about this match. It kept me entertained.
I'm with you.
In my opinion, definitely in the top 3 matches of the whole night. And I enjoyed it very thoroughly. I thought it ended fine. And I think Ronda Rousey was very impressive. I was impressed by her performance. I thought she did a great job. What do you think, Howie?
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining in the WrestleMania sense of being entertaining. I thought there was some spots where it was kind of a bit like, but it was funny. It was like there was kind of comic relief in it. I think the bit where Triple H gets overwhelmed by Ronda Rousey's punches, where they kind of square.
Oh, that was awesome!
Like,
and he
that
was like,
great.
He was swatting them,
and he's like, and he just gets overwhelmed. I thought at the time, I was just like, it was just funny. It made me laugh, and so, and I thought there was some cool spots, like the bit where he dragged her out of the ring by the ankles. You know what I mean? She just took,
she took a nice face bump there.
But she was looking great. I hate to be like male chauvinistic about this and just objectify women, but credit where credit's due. I mean, she looked in great shape, and she just looked every bit the part. Her image looked great. I thought her attire with the Roddy Piper inspired get up looked fantastic, and do you know what? I was thinking this week. After seeing that match with Asuka and Charlotte, and the fact that I felt that it, as a wrestling match, everything about the build up to it, the content of the match itself, and the result, everything about that pleased me greatly, right? And in the past, we've spoken about a women's match main eventing WrestleMania. If there ever was something further down the line that possibly could be that one, think about Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte as being the main event of a WrestleMania. That's got the cachet.
I honestly think that's going to be your main event next year. I really do.
It really, really can be.
But Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie McMahon?
No, Charlotte.
Charlotte
versus
Ronda. I think that's got the star power of Ronda Rousey to draw in, the media. But also it's got the legacy of some Charlotte. So it's a real challenge.
Yeah, you got the Roddy Piper legacy, and you got the Ric Flair legacy.
and the way things have been going with Ronda is she's not getting an apathetic response. She's getting big. She's over.
Even on Raw the next night, it was amazing.
On Raw the next night, she was over as over can be.
Yeah.
And people are responding to her moveset and her arm breaker. The threat of the arm breaker gets people cheering. Just that she's gonna do it. She's gonna do it. And it's kind of like what they always did with Angle and his ankle lock.
Who was the last person? The last person that I remember using the armbar was Man Mountain Rock. In wrestling, who was the last person to use an armbar like that? You know what I mean? Didn't he call it the painkiller or something like that?
Didn't Man Mountain Rock did a different kind of arm breaker, didn't he? He didn't do it as a across the chest kind. He did he swung them around,
yeah. He laid on your back, right, and pulled your arm up or something like that.
He had them on their chest, so he would swing them round, drive them to the floor face first, and then pull their arm up. And then pull the arm
backward. But even still, an arm bar, yeah.
Somebody who did do that move that she does in wrestling was Craig Pittman, I think his name was.
Oh, wow.
In
Sergeant
WCW.
Craig Pittman.
Sergeant Craig Pittman had, and I think he called it the Red Alert or something like that, or the Code Red, and it was like an arm breaker.
But you see, for people like that, it's like lackluster. Like Man Mountain Rock's move should have been like the avalanche into like an elbow drop or a power bomb or a body slam or a power slam or something like that. But for her it works because of the UFC thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes it more believable. With those other guys, it was like those, and Craig Pittman wasn't a small guy either. You know what I mean? And for those people, but you know what I mean? Like it hasn't been used in it has to be at least almost 2 decades. You know what I mean? So any kind of armbar,
And she's got a myriad of ways that she can put people in that hold as well. So she can roll them into it, just put them into it normally. She could probably do it from being up on their shoulders in a victory roll and go forward and put them in it. You know, it's just she from out of nowhere. She'll be there's so much there with that. And
yeah, and I think she should also have another move too, though, like a non-submission hold, like maybe a backhand or something like that. You know, a spinning back fist or something like what Asuka does or something like that, or you know.
Something
she should have
dynamic to not a knockout hit or something.
Yeah,
a flying knee. Knees are all the rage right now with the Nakamura knee, and I saw Mandy Rose was using a knee on Raw.
Oh yeah, she used that. It was like a shin. She used her shin almost, like her, like her shin hit. When she won. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. But yeah, totally. That's definitely a pop culture of wrestling.
She can knee me anytime.
Right in the crotch.
I'll take a golden girl knee.
Oh yes. But yeah. So she won via submission. The armbar. You know, the armbar heard round the world. And it was a great match. It was very entertaining. Very good. So, and then we coming up after that, we had the Usos, the New Day, the Bludgeon Brothers in a triple threat tag team title match. And of course, we saw the Bludgeon Brothers go over in this and become the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
It's about damn time.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll let you guys pull your thoughts out on this one. Then
I was talking to you about this yesterday in our hour-long chat, Howie.
Yes.
I like the Bludgeon Brothers because I like Luke Harper. I was never a big fan of Eric Rowan, although I have respect for him as always. I think the gimmick is. I feel like it's too much of a throwback, and I'm all for the gimmicks. I love gimmicks. I think they're great, and they definitely have a well-deserved spot in wrestling, if that sounds right. But I feel like their hammers are way too over. Like they're just. It's almost like a Harley Quinn hammer, like that giant hammer she carries around. Like it's not practical. I feel like it, and I was talking to you about this yesterday, Howie. Like, it's not like Mr. Fuji's cane or like Jim Cornette's tennis racket, or Paul Heyman's cell phone. You know, like, how do you use that as a weapon? Like, are you really gonna whack somebody with that huge hammer? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's just a bit kind of overstated, isn't it? It's kind of, it's too obvious. It's like, oh, they're called the Bludgeon Brothers, and they carry war hammers
that they're never gonna use. You know, like you can kill somebody with those things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think they're cool. They have cool music. They look cool. At least they did something with them finally. Now, I'm mostly happy for Eric Rowan. For Luke Harper. Because I had so much respect, and I loved it when they gave him the Intercontinental title for that short while. I don't know. I just I'm not angry that they're tag team champions, and I'm not like ecstatic. It's just like, it's something different, and let's see how it plays out. But something's got to be tweaked a little bit with their gimmick. I can't put my finger on it exactly what it is aside from the hammers, but something's got to be. Something's got to be tweaked a little bit,
Yeah.
They're going in the right direction, though, for sure.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that, but like I said, I think
there's room for improvement.
Yeah, they're like tweaking. That's it. It doesn't have to be anything major.
Minor.
You know what I mean? Yeah. What about you, Howie? What do you say?
I found this match was the match where I zoned out a bit. Like I was fully full attention for everything leading up to this match, and then during this match, I don't know, at some point, I think at the beginning, I just started staring into space and started thinking about something else. And then suddenly the match was over and I was like, oh, they won. Look, they got belts. They're on the turn, but they're posing with the belts. Oh my God. And at that point, actually, such a weird observation. I actually looked at Luke Harper and I thought, do you know what? I think he's lost weight. Do you know what I mean? Do you know, he looked trimmer and thinner than in my mind. I always saw him as having a little bit more kind of meat on his bones. And he looked really, like, not skinny per se, but just looked like he'd like lost kind of like chub. Like he was looking kind of like quite refined on a muscular, but not bulky. And I thought, yeah, probably don't do much more of that. It suits the gimmick better if you're quite like big,
right,
menacing,
bulky,
and bulky. And but yeah, like you say, with the gimmick, it's just I don't know what it is. Just like you, echoing your sentiment completely, Mitch. I do not know what it is. Maybe it's the costume. I can't get over the costume. I don't like the outfits very much, but then I can't actually make a suggestion of what would make that better. I don't know. Even if you tried to dress them, imagine them in Demolition's gear. You know what I mean? With pants and leather boots and
Dominatrix helmets. Oh yeah.
Dominatrix helmets. If they did that now, you go, "What the hell is that?" But in the 80s, you thought, wouldn't you? You'd be like,
yeah. If they did that now, you could team them up with Finn Balor. You know?
Yeah. Exactly. Hey guys, we accept everybody with our hammers. You know,
and again, people, just to clarify, we are not anti-gay or anything like that. It's just the whole idea of it is, because I have to clarify these things because
I've got friends, like you say, work colleagues, who are homosexual, and it doesn't bother me in the slightest.
No, it's just their placement of this is not on point. You know,
and come on, like.
And why to Finn Balor of all people, who's like was so popular?
Allowed, you should be there. You can typecast and characterize the culture that goes with it, like we were just doing there with it. That is a thing, and it's overt.
They should have given it to the.
It is a type, so you can have a little giggle.
They should have given it to the fashion police or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
they dress like the Village People. I mean, come on, just have them come out to YMCA and it'll be done with it.
Wasn't their WrestleMania moment was a Snickers advert?
Oh, that was funny though.
That was funny. They're comfortable. Just try them.
Just try them, and he's trying to pull them on.
That was funny. But the Bludgeon Brothers, obviously they're being built up as an
say that 5 times fast.
The Bludgeon
Brother, the Bludgeon Brother, the Bludgeon.
We're the Budgie Brothers. So the Budgie Brothers.
Maybe give them the gimmick. He could be like the Man Bear. Man Bear.
You want to feel my beard? It's all furry.
Stroke my beard.
Yeah, they got their big hammers, and they.
They got the big hammers, and especially the Man Bear.
The man. They're big hammers.
Well, they're sure overcompensating for something, folks, with the big hammers.
If I was going to project, look, it's the age-old formula, is that if you build up a powerhouse tag team, like you did, say, with the Road Warriors, they start off as heels, they kick everybody's ass, and then you switch them to face when they've got that cachet of being unstoppable.
Yeah.
And then obviously you then have to have either crafty villain type people like the Revival would fit that mold, where they're kind of outsmarting the powerhouses, or you have to have somebody like AOP, Authors of Pain, who are kind of equally as kick-ass to smash. It's so there's potential there, but yeah, we'll just see how long. Maybe it's one of those things that just take time and it'll grow on us, and one day we'll just be like, this gimmick's actually is working. But just at the moment, yeah, maybe not feeling it.
Well, like I said, time will tell. We'll see what happens, how it unfolds. So, and then up next, one of me and Richie's favorite segments, matches, was John Cena versus The Undertaker.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. So
I marked that immediately.
Oh, we were screaming. We were like two little girls, like, yay! Oh yes! Oh yes! Paul Bearer move over. There were two other high pitched screaming going on in the room that night. I tell you. But yeah, no. So we saw he ran to the back earlier in the night, and then Elias came out, and then he made quick work of Elias, and then he was about to leave again, and then the Undertaker's bong, not the one that he smoked, but the one when he came out. Yes, and then he came out as the Dead Man. I mean, they did kind of do it pretty cool where they had they didn't completely disregard the hat and the coat being folded in the middle of the ring. So they actually did something consistent, which is very rare sometimes with them. And you saw the bolt of lightning, which I didn't mind. That didn't look too bad to me. And then it kind of took you back. It kind of gave that like little bit of a homage to the old days with the lightning bolt. And then and then he came out as the Dead Man, looking impressive, very impressive. Definitely an improvement over last year's Undertaker. He looked a lot better than he did last year. He ran around the ring a lot faster.
The physique he had and the speed reminded me of WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, he looked good. I mean, you could tell he's aged, but I mean, he's getting old. I mean, that's just a part of life, But like Richie said, definitely seemed like it's just so weird. It seemed like he went back in time almost. You know what I mean? Like, how does he do it? I don't know. But he looked good. And I mean, it was a quick match, which I think a lot of people shat on. But I wasn't bothered by it. At this point in his career, and at this point, like with the whole thing, it kind of, to me personally, it kind of made sense that he just kind of steamrolled him. I mean, and realistically, do we really want to see a 30-minute Undertaker match with John Cena? I mean, they both do 3 moves. It's like, do we need that? I mean, like, how many times are they gonna I always say F5, but how many times are they gonna F you or attitude adjustment? The Undertaker, or how many tombstones, or how many choke slams, or how many, almost triangle choke, Hell's Gate. How many of those do we need to see before the match is over? I was kind of happy that it was one fucking tombstone. Excuse my language. Match was over. We didn't need to see 10 tombstones. We didn't need to see. It worked for Shawn Michaels because you had a machine in Shawn Michaels, and you had a machine at the time. The Undertaker was still in my opinion, his prime at that point. And he was already up there in age, but he could move around. That suicide dive he took I think that took years off his life when he landed on the cameraman failed to catch him.
Oh, my God.
I thought he was dead. Like, I literally thought he was dead, and I cringed so hard. And I was literally praying that he wasn't broke his neck or back. That was terrible. But I digress. So, again, Undertaker wins via pinfall. Howie, go.
Yeah, I right, on paper, when that was not what I had in mind for a John Cena versus Undertaker WrestleMania match. I was kind of thinking if it was going to go down, and it obviously did, in my mind, I thought it was going to be like an Undertaker Shawn Michaels type match where it was just fucking all out. The brakes have come off. And this thing is like, I actually I envisaged it being full of, attitude adjustments and, who was going to win. But I guess it didn't bother me that Cena got, let's just rewind back in time. I find it funny now that as much, people, you got to remember with John Cena, this is the guy that when he comes out, everyone chants that he sucks. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is it they say? John Cena sucks.
Right.
That is generally the consensus of the adult male fan. The youngsters and the women, they see it differently. But generally, everyone tends to go, yeah, John Cena sucks. He's he's undeserving. For years, for the last 10 years, obviously these days people have more gotten used to the idea and definitely appreciate his work in the ring. But back 10 years ago, maybe it's slightly after that, people generally were just dissing him all the time. And if at that stage you had said he was going to have a match at WrestleMania with The Undertaker and get steamrolled, everyone would have said, yeah, great result. Now everyone's getting on the high horse saying, oh, no, that's not the match I expected. We should have had more of a match. Blah, 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 blah. Let's just put our heads around this a second, people. The Undertaker just destroyed John Cena at WrestleMania. And everyone should be like, yeah, awesome. That serves you right. That's what he's you deserved it.
That was what was implied. Like he talked all this shit about him for weeks and weeks, and then he got his his mouth shut, And I mean, it's not like he did basically have almost zero offense, but that even that spot where he bounced off the rope to do the 5-knuckle shuffle and the Undertaker sat up and he got scared shitless, that was awesome. Yeah. All right. And Undertaker had like no trouble standing up, like he didn't like struggle to get to his feet. Like you could just tell he was on point. You know what I mean? So, taking into consideration what you said about the big pay-per-view match, like what I was talking about earlier, I guess, kind of.
Yeah.
But to go back to your point, I wouldn't have been I wouldn't have been upset if they had a knockdown drag out fight, with all the bells and whistles like you said. But I'm also not upset that they had a short match either. You know what I mean? If that's what maybe that was what the Undertaker agreed to. Maybe he said, "Listen, I'll come out. I don't really want to wrestle anymore, but I'll do it because, for the sake of WrestleMania and for the sake of business." Maybe he said, we don't know everything that was said. He's got a lot of creative control over what goes on with his persona, especially since he's not a full-time contracted wrestler. So who knows? Maybe Undertaker said, "You know what? My hip is still rehabbing. I'll go out there and I'll give a couple of minutes, nice, thing where people will be happy that I even showed up. But I don't want to have I'm retired. I'm basically retired. I'm like 90% retired. I don't want to do this match. I don't want to have a big epic match. Like, I'll come in and I'll beat the shit out of him. But, that's what you're going to get at. Maybe that was his decision, you know what I mean? And in that case, if that was the situation, as a huge Undertaker mark and fan and lifer, I'd say, let's at least give the man credit for showing up and at least doing what he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you're right.
That's my piece,
It must be practical, like you say, a practical reason for that match being that way.
I think the way it went down was the perfect way to do it. It reestablished exactly what the Undertaker was, a dominant force in the ring. The past few years you're looking at WrestleMania 30, Brock Lesnar, the Shane McMahon fight, and then you have obviously last year Roman Reigns. It was a broken down Undertaker more or less. He wasn't up to par performing like he did back in the heyday and stuff. And,
which is a shame too. Like, if you think back on that, it's like
it is.
He pushed himself. You could tell he was hurting. I mean, even if there was no such thing as the internet, and even if there was no such thing as the dirt sheet or whatever the hell it's called, and I saw the Undertaker as a lifelong fan, just like Richie, like huge. I mean, and even Howie. Howie's a huge Undertaker fan too.
Of course,
and all three of us are. But I would have even said, I know something was wrong with him. I know the way he was moving around, and he could barely lift up Roman Reigns. The Undertaker body slammed King Kong Bundy without him even jumping back at WrestleMania 11. You know what I mean? Like, he tombstone Vader. Like, me and Howie, weren't we talking about this not too long ago?
Yeah, a couple weeks back, yeah.
Like, he could barely lift up Roman Reigns. All right, so that was, you could tell the man was in pain, and we kind of like, to me, it's almost like, I know it was a big moment that Roman Reigns went over at WrestleMania, but I almost kind of disregard that whole thing, like almost like it didn't even happen. Like, it's kind of like, it's sad, it was sad to see him in that state, and I think going into this, and I know we're taking a long time on this, people that are listening, but you know what? It's the Undertaker, and
he deserves it.
Yeah, and not even like in that chanting sense, but yes, like legitimately deserves it.
Yep.
And you talk about Mr. WrestleMania, and I have no doubt in my mind that Shawn Michaels definitely is, but if you think about it too, the Undertaker's also if there was two Mr. WrestleManias, the Undertaker's there with him. You know what I mean? And then of course Hogan too, but Hogan did not have the long, like, this is what I was thinking, like, and it's funny because last night before I watched we're getting off topic, but I watched the 25th anniversary of Raw. They made it look so epic. Even though, Rich, you and I were watching it live together on the phone.
It was absolutely shit.
It wasn't, but the way they kind of like chopped it up and turned it into like a 40-minute or whatever it was, hour-long documentary, they actually did a great job. I recommend everybody watch it, especially if you're an older fan like me, 36 years old, and Richie, 30, like, if you're in that age and you were born and you were a fan during the Attitude Era, it's a must-watch. And I kind of wish that I didn't even watch it that night, Rich. I mean, we had fun on the phone and we were bullshit. Like, it was almost like we were there together. But
right.
If I had a choice, like going back, I would say you and I just sit down and watch this hour-long documentary because
that was better than the event by itself.
Oh, seeing the Undertaker out of character and like smiling and like in tears, like you see him in the car and he's like crying, like and seeing Steve Austin like behind the scenes and all this other kind of stuff, like it was anyway, I digress again. But the Undertaker, it's like he needed this because I feel like after last year, such a poor showing, my main concern going into this was that Is he gonna look just as bad or worse?
Right.
You know, but it turns out he actually looked 100 times better. You know what I mean, than he did last year. So, in any case, you know, it was what it was. And if you weren't an Undertaker fan, you know, and maybe it didn't do anything for you, you know. But if you're an old school guy and you know you wanted to just see this quick glimpse of whatever, and if you want to see a big John Cena Undertaker match, go back in time and watch when he fought the Undertaker, and Undertaker was the American Badass. All right, so it's there.
It's all there.
It exists exactly. So that's my piece on this. Anybody have anything else to add for the Undertaker John Cena? Rich, Howie?
No, I think
No.
I think we've given it our all.
Yeah, for once I summed it up. I may have pulled it off for once. And up next for our WrestleMania festivities, we had the tag match: Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. That's right. All right, it was an amazing. I thought it was a pretty amazing match. Bryan has not lost a step. It looks amazing. Hopefully, good things come of this, and I wish him the best, and I hope that he continues on his up and up, and wish him great health, and everybody did a great job. I think they all played their role properly. What do you guys think, Howie?
Yeah, like you say, Daniel Bryan's not missed a step. Shane O'Mac was holding the fort most of the time because Daniel Bryan was laid outside the beginning of the match. And I was pleased with the result. It was a good match, and Daniel Bryan, over as over can be.
Oh my God!
It's always such a great thing.
And he looked cool too. His tights looked awesome. The way he the design and everything. He looked great.
Yeah, I mean, I can foresee a title run in the future for that man.
It could be as we speak.
Maybe Daniel Bryan is the Brock Lesnar beater.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that's a match. That's the match. That's a match that David versus
the shakeup
Goliath,
is next week. Yeah, the shakeup is next week, so we'll see exactly what happens.
And they were also saying that, Rich was telling me that one thing that I didn't know and that I didn't read was that, actually, let's save that for later. Remind me about this when we talk about Brock Lesnar. But go ahead, continue, Howie.
That was my main point, really. I guess I was pleased with the result. I thought the match was good. It's great to see Daniel Bryan back. Shane O'Mac was impressive with his commitment to the cause. Did his coast-to-coast drop kick from across the ring. That was an impressive spot. And yeah, I think the main thing for me that I carried away from this was just how insanely over Daniel Bryan is.
Yeah, and that coast to coast looked rough too, man. He really looked like he nailed Sami Zayn on that Tree of Woe. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was just so impressive. That was one of the spots of the match for me personally.
Yeah. You still got it.
Absolutely.
You still got it.
So, and what about you, Rich? I know you share a lot of the same views as me, but we want to hear it from your horse's mouth.
Oh!
But you know what they say? It's better to hear it from the horse's mouth than the horse's ass.
Oh!
But go ahead. Howie's liking my metaphors on point tonight.
Well, I gotta say one thing. I was disappointed I did not get the Daniel Bryan outfit with the gopher on the boots. No, I'm only kidding. That was a horrible outfit for WrestleMania 30. But no, it was actually it was a great match. Daniel Bryan has not missed a step at all. I mean, guy is on point with everything. Shane McMahon never disappoints with whatever match he's in. Always performs on a high level. The guys need surgery, on the verge of having surgery, and here he is still putting his body in line, doing a whole ton of crazy shit like he always does.
Yep.
And then obviously you have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and two of them together. Great personalities, great gimmicks. Both of those guys deliver. Great performers. I mean, it was a slam dunk match. It was very, very well done.
Absolutely. And yeah, I don't know. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, great match. The next match, Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. very happy for Nia Jax, as I'm sure many of us are. It was a decent match. wasn't the greatest women's match I've ever seen in my life, but it wasn't bad by any means. And it was a good match, and thank God Nia Jax won. I was happy. With all the other, changes in what we would be predicted outcomes. I'm happy that one came through and reigned true. So what do you think, Howie?
Yeah, good match all round. It was, with this one, it was kind of clear cut, wasn't it? There wasn't any surprises per se, in that the trajectory of the story continued in the manner that we felt it would, in that, we knew Nia Jax was a monster, kind of, I don't mean in stature, I don't mean to offend the lady, but I mean just that she can destroy her opponents. But they gave her kind of a vulnerable side with this kind of whole kind of bullying storyline that they had with Bliss and Mickie James. And it culminated with her becoming the champion. And it was good. She came across well, and it was a good match. Some cool spots in there. I thought Alexa Bliss doing that kind of, she did her Bliss, what did she call it?
On the outside? Yeah.
Yeah, she did that spot to the outside. That
like
was
a
cool.
twisty splash type thing where she kind of turns midair and you see her butt cheeks jiggle. Oh, yes!
Yeah. Man, I'd love to see the butt cheeks jiggle. That's not a song that you often sing.
Twisted Bliss? Talking about Twisted Bliss?
Twisted Bliss.
Yes.
That was impressive. I mean, I don't want to fast forward too far, but I know that on Raw, Nia Jax brought Ember Moon out, didn't she?
Yep.
And that's an interesting... That's obviously got a big deal. That's a big deal going forward. They need that. They need to spice things up a little bit.
Yeah, you can look forward to... I bet you Ember Moon becomes the heel. Because they've gone through too much trouble of making Nia Jax a face. So I think you would see Ember Moon as the heel in the situation. And I think she'd make an impressive bad person too. Bad girl. Bad girls. Talking about the bad girls. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's going to make a very good bad girl. And, there's lots they can do with that, isn't there? There's it's whether or not Bliss continues to be the heel that the faces are all vying against, or if, I don't know, it's more a case of keeping the belt on Nia Jax for the long run, and it's kind of like heels trying to get at her, or like you say, maybe a surprise aspect where Ember Moon, we've been programmed that she's a face, but anything can happen. They're versatile. So it was a good match for WrestleMania, and it was good to see Nia Jax go over, and they did that whole thing with she does deserve it. She's been grafting, I think, Nia Jax, and good to see the title on her.
Yeah. And
definitely.
And then the next match was AJ Styles versus Nakamura. Again, a little bit of a shocker here with the finish. I definitely thought Nakamura was going to win. Really good match. I think for some reason, it was a little bit more slow paced than I thought it was going to be.
They overhyped it. They definitely dream match. It's gonna be great. They just went too far as advertising it, and I really feel like they didn't. I don't know if it was like they didn't have enough time to deliver what they wanted, or if they weren't in sync with what they really wanted to do. Or the match was definitely missing something. I think from how they really were promoting it.
It didn't have like earlier we were talking about the way that Asuka and Charlotte had their match, and there were surprises. Not just in the result, but obviously there was a surprise at the end of this match. But I think within the match, it felt straightforward. That was the only way I could describe the match. It was straightforward. What's going on in the background?
Cut and dry, I think it was.
Cut and dry. What were you doing there? You decided to start a woodwork project?
No, actually, I was opening up one of my cabinet drawers real quick.
Okay. What was I saying? I felt like... the match was just very straightforward, cut and dry, and I was actually surprised Nakamura didn't win. I thought it was like the writing was on the wall with that. I thought Nakamura was destined.
I thought as well. Yeah.
destined to win. But but it was all kind of forgiven. I love the way that they kind of led into that. He presents the title to him, drops down on one knee, bam, low blow.
Ball shot.
But that's the thing. Nakamura, we've talked about this in previous weeks. In real life, he seems like a just really nice guy and then really likable. So, whereas someone like Randy Orton, you can believe that he is a bit of a bellend, and that he can transfer that into being a believable kind of intimidating heel character. I don't see Nakamura as being intimidating. He's not of intimidating stature. Now,
yeah, it's because he's slender. I think it's not. He's not tall. He's not short, but he's not overly massive, bulk wise. So he's definitely, like you said, he definitely doesn't have that. And even though he is billed as the king of strong style, I feel like he'll probably kick my ass in real life. But I feel like I have a shot of beating him up.
That's what I mean. I kind of think.
You know what I mean?
He's not like.
I mean, I'm 230 pounds, and most of it's not fat. Like I'm I don't know. Like I guess that's what the issue is there, and I totally feel you. Like I feel like AJ Styles is more of a beefy looking wrestler than him. You know what I mean? Like he's thicker. Yeah. Like he's got more muscle mass, is what I'm saying.
And more of a unit, isn't he? He's a unit, and kind of gymnast strength. He's got a gymnast. Or the song, the lyrics of the song is like the. I maybe got the lyrics wrong, but it's something about with the farmer's strength in his theme song. I'm going to try and find the lyrics to that now. AJ Styles theme lyrics. It's saying that. I'm pretty sure it says something about AJ Styles theme lyrics.
Doesn't he say finest strength? I thought he said
finest strength. Is it farmer strength or finest strength? I don't know. I need to know this now.
Don't go messing with the country boy.
They say no, they don't want none. No, they don't want none. They looking scared. No, they don't really want none. We some southern boys with the farmer strength.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I told you.
That's a revelation. I thought it was finest
some southern
strength.
Boys with the farmer strength. Ain't nobody man enough to feel the pain, and you could be next. You better. I can't rap.
It's a good thing they didn't get a guy from the UK to sing that song.
We got some southern boys with the farmer strength. Ain't nobody man enough to feel the pain, and you could be next. You better give respect, because ain't nobody breaking this redneck. No, they don't want none. No, they don't want none. No, they don't want none. They're looking scared. No, they really don't. See what I mean?
That is the funniest. That is both the funniest and whitest rap I've ever heard in my life.
This is as white as it gets, isn't it?
This is white. That's white. That's white meat, baby.
Howie's gonna follow up with an album of the wrestling themes that he's gonna sing to. That's gonna find.
They're all wrestling theme covers.
I think we've got. It's not hip hop. This is a chap hop. Hello.
Good night, mate.
Good
night, folks.
And after the break, I'll be performing Tupac Shakur's classic "California Love."
As long as you do Gangsta's Paradise, I'll be all right.
How's that going? This
do Mark Henry. Somebody's gonna get it.
It's amazing. I'm just trying to think of any rap songs.
Someone's gonna get their ass kicked.
What? Hey, what? Hey, what? Hey,
what?
I'm just trying to think.
Oh God.
Let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable at Elliot Ness. The track hits your eardrums like a slug to your chest. Got the best for you, Jimmy, in the city of something. Yeah, that's California Love, isn't it? That's Dr. Dre in California.
We are the nation, live and in color. Don't diss the man, cause we'll bum rush your mother. Listen what I'm saying, we're for real, not playing. If Farouk is the man, hit your knees and start praying.
Wow.
Nation, a domination.
Wow.
We are the nation.
He's got power like the bear, but quick like the cat. 2 and 2 together, put your face on the mat. You count the stars while the ref counts 3. Hope you like to look at ceilings, cause that's all you're gonna see.
Nation. See, I'm doing that rapper thing now, where somebody repeats the last thing you said at the end, because that's dope. That is dope. Look how dope this is. This is the illest. This is the illest episode we've done. This is for real, man. You can't stop us.
I forget the last.
Didn't I tell you that we won't stop, son?
But so moving on. This is a doozy right here. The Bar versus Braun Strowman and Nicholas. Oh my God!
Oh wow! What happened here?
What the F were they thinking?
Just don't know.
From all the rumored tag partners, Big Cass, Big Show, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Hillbilly Jim, anybody. Will we get a child, Nicholas?
It's the most random thing to ever happen.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, I don't know. Let's just do this quick. Let's get it over with. It's like pulling off a Band-Aid. Jesus. Nothing against the kid, man, but this was just ridiculous. Come on. I mean, way to friggin'
I think he's
devalue
he's
the
a ref.
I know he's a referee's kid, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Cohen, I think.
Yeah. I don't know who it was, but I heard it was a ref's kid, yeah.
So it was actually pretty funny. Like, we'll touch into it later with Raw, like, you know, when they had like the quick little segment. But
that was funny. That was funny.
know.
But you know what? It was just the kid looked petrified. You know.
He did.
I honestly thought it was a girl at first. You know, I didn't know what the hell was going on.
The name of the referee is John Cone.
John Cone, that's who it is. Yeah.
John Cone. I think he'll be a I think at WWE live shows now there'll be chants for John Cone now that there's more of an awareness of who he is. Like, because I've been at WWE house shows before and I've seen John Cone, and he's I can remember he came to a house show near us, and my friend and I we like to drink beer at the WWE live events, and he was kind of interacting with us quite a lot. He was a good guy. I've never seen a referee kind of do that as much. He was enjoying the show and as much as we were, I think. And he now that I know his name, there'll be like some kind of like football like John Cone chant. Be like, "We love you, John Cone. We do. We love you, John Cone. We do. We love you, John Cone. We do. Oh, John Cone, we love you." That's gonna happen.
I don't know about you guys, but I will not be chanting that at live events.
Do you not do chants like that?
We want Nicholas.
That I can see happening.
Nicholas.
Oh, there's the chanting at WWE in UK live events is on another level. It's like all of the American ones and more. There's new ones, and you think, who dreamt these up, and how does everyone know this? You know,
when we switch places, when we switch roles, and I come to the United Kingdom, for your wedding renewal. Let's make sure we go to a wrestling event. All right, we'll have to plan that around the same time as well. So,
I mean, yeah, have to be after WrestleMania, I guess, because they come on the tour after WrestleMania, the WrestleMania Revenge Tour.
There you go.
And they come to the O2 Arena in London. That's always the big one.
That's the one I want to go to.
They do a Raw and a SmackDown. I mean, we when we go up and see that, we'll stay at a hotel and we do Monday night and Tuesday night. We do both.
Yes, we will do this.
We do that.
Hey, you went all the way to the United Kingdom? Yep. What'd you do? I saw wrestling. Oh yeah. But all right. So then the last match: Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Excuse me.
Sentiment exactly.
Excuse me. Excuse me. That tickled. Roman Reigns didn't win, and I was actually upset about that. Not only that, but I was also very irked and
disturbed and unsettling to see exactly what
that
transpired.
blood loss. Oh my God. That was really bad. That was bad, man.
It was just surprising because it was like I think we're used to the format of Brock Lesnar, the Destroyer, and him destroying people and putting people through tables and suplexing them a lot and all of that stuff. I think what it lacked for me, I felt, was a little bit more from Roman Reigns. I think I know he didn't get beaten easily because he got F5 like a million times, but I was waiting for this kind of Roman Reigns comeback, but it never happened, and he got beat, and I was a bit like, oh, shit, he's dead. That's it. He got beat, and I was literally thinking, like, what possibly are we going to have now? Who's going to be lined up? So maybe, maybe that with, like you said, with the roster shuffle that's coming. What do they call it now? It's not the draft. It's the
shake up.
The shake up. With the shake up, I think it's got to be on Daniel Bryan being the one to take it. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Yeah, like you were talking about the. He did a job, didn't he? A juice job. It wasn't a blade. We think it was the heart. He did it hard way. Elbows to the forehead.
Yep.
Ouch.
And it definitely looked like it hurt. And it definitely looked like he did. And I heard Vince McMahon like gave him shit for it also. Like he was mad that he
got some color.
Yeah, he did it a little bit too much, I think. Which, and in that sense, like Vince McMahon, this must be where he's getting senile, because how is the man supposed to judge how big of a gash he's gonna make with his elbow? You know what I mean? It's not like he's using a blade and cutting his head. You know what I mean? Like how can he tell? You know what I mean? Like how could you get mad at him for that? I don't know. That just seemed
maybe it was that he, because I don't think Vince is probably keen on them doing any blood. Having any color at all in their matches these days. It's such a rarity. When it happened, I was really surprised because I thought, there was a lot of hoo-ha about it, with, bloodborne diseases, and all kinds of things like that. And it just became a bit of a faux pas. But so it was surprising to see it happen, but not unwarranted. If it was gonna happen at any point in WWE, it should be able to happen in the main event of WrestleMania for sure.
Right.
And but he was bleeding a lot. And but I don't know. I just was waiting with this match. There's nothing. I know people are really saying it was bad, but at the time when I was watching it, I didn't actually think it was that bad. It just reminded me of just the other matches they've had. I was just the bit that just surprised me was I was just waiting for Roman Reigns to have that final, comeback and to just win, but that didn't happen. But again, it's one of these things. It's like with John Cena. People are moaning that John Cena got beat real quick. When 5-6 years ago, everyone would have been like, "Oh my god, that was such a great result because we hate John Cena." And exactly. Now everyone has been moaning for so long that they hate Roman Reigns and that he doesn't deserve the spot. He gets beaten by Brock Lesnar, and now everyone's moaning that he got beat. When actually, for a long time, the thing that everybody was moaning about was, "Oh, so obvious that he's going to win WrestleMania." And look, it wasn't that obvious because he didn't. Now everyone's moaning that he didn't. So it's just like, can't win, but
he was originally scheduled to win the match. Vince McMahon called an audible and actually changed the finish of the match mid match itself. Because Reigns was supposed to win the match, and then the crowd was getting hostile and they were anti-Reigns. And he said that's, I'm not going to have where, the finale of the main event's going to be like, my new champion's going to get booed out of the building. So he called an audible and had it changed where Lesnar was going to be the winner of the match. And that's why it looked like a complete absolute, cluster, clusterfuck pretty much. And then, 6 F5s and getting busted open and everything else. And, so that was
on the fly, that decision.
Yeah, the decision was on the fly.
Bloody hell. I mean, I think they should have just gone with that. I mean, if he gets booed, learn how to learn how
to be a man and suck it up.
Well, yeah, learn how to be a man, and also WWE, learn how to live with your decisions.
Roll with the punches.
And how to make money from them. If people are going to boo him, then so be it.
Make him a monster heel and just have him be booed.
Exactly. Learn how to make money from the. Yeah, it just does.
And then there was the whole aftermath now too, with that he threw the belt at Vince McMahon. It just missed him.
How can it come down to that nth hour, the last hour, when when they, surely this is something that's been planned for months, if not over a year, to happen, and now it's like a surprise that, do you know what? If Roman wins, I think he might get booed. Oh, that's occurred to you in the middle of the match after this much planning that could be something that happens? No, you should be completely willing to accept that if he's booed, which you knew he was going to be because it's Roman fucking Reigns, just live with it and just go, okay. And just look, they did it with John Cena. They did it with John Cena long enough, that it's surprising. It's surprising, and so I mean, but Samoa Joe came back on Raw, and he's coming for Roman Reigns, isn't he? That was
yeah. I think Roman Reigns is gonna wind up beating Lesnar at the Great the Great Royal Rumble.
The greatest Royal Rumble.
Because he's more of a fan favorite over in Saudi Arabia. So
yes.
This is because he looked like one of us.
But at the same time, it's like
True.
it's like if you can't have like this your top guy going forward, like winning it, at the biggest stages of them all.
Yeah.
Then do you really have the full confidence of having him being the leader of the company going forward? Like taking that top spot from John Cena and being the main guy to like run your locker room?
No
to
way.
lead,
He's clearly not.
It's like, I mean, for him to call the audible like that mid-match, it clearly shows he has some insecurities about Roman Reigns being the top guy in his company.
Yeah.
Well,
now, for instance, Daniel Bryan, who is over. He is the true people's champion.
Right.
You think of the response that he gets from the crowd. It's just insane.
Right.
That man is the champion, and he hasn't got the belt.
So it really, I mean, now that it's plus they're combining pay-per-views now going forward and stuff. So, and it's going to be more of a whole unit. And plus, now Daniel Bryan might end up on Raw if they're doing the Superstar Sega, which I think is probably more of a probability than anything else. So maybe seeing that Bryan, like you just said, Bryan is really the top face of the company. And Vince obviously sees that and how over he is with merchandise and how the fans just get behind him.
Plus, you also got to take into consideration the fact that we don't. I mean, I don't wish this on the man, but we don't know how long his stay is going to be. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true too.
I mean,
that's true too. So maybe
he's
life,
cleared now.
Right, but even in life, though, it's like maybe he only has maybe a year or so left. So like, in his ability to wrestle and stuff to his full capacity. So maybe to say, let's give him the best run he can possibly have,
right,
as a thank you for sticking with us and doing everything we've asked him to throughout the whole injury process and stuff and doing it the right way. So let's give him a high note to go with and let him have a great run and
they're obviously going to make him a full-time wrestler now because they already replaced him on SmackDown supposedly.
Yeah,
obviously this is filming on a Tuesday. We're already seeing the outcome of SmackDown.
I think the most interesting angle of all would be to have. I actually just think that they've blown it with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar now. I think it's just been done to death. We've seen that matchup so much. Why would we now want to see that match again? I know they're going to do something in a cage, aren't they, or something like that?
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's exhausted, and they need to move on.
It's ridiculous. It's time to move on. I mean, Lesnar's become very stale. I mean, he comes in. Suplex, F5, blah, 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 Paul Heyman.
Not to mention, like, who the F for you to throw the belt at Vince McMahon like that? Like,
exactly. It's like, you're getting paid all this top money to be a part-time guy.
Millions of dollars to do this, and you're going to crap on Vince McMahon like that?
Right. It's like, screw you. It's like, what? Then get the hell out of here. Not only that, but you're disrespecting the title, number one. You're disrespecting the company. And you're disrespecting every single the wrestler. The owner. But you're disrespecting all of your fellow peers in the back of the locker room when you do shit like that.
Yeah, but then come on. First and foremost is the boss. I mean, it's like,
of course.
He's the man who signs your checks. I mean, theoretically, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
I mean, if you think about, I feel that, like we've already just said, like, I think that the Roman and Brock thing is done now. They need to move on from that. Send off Roman into like they used to do with Bret Hart back in the day, where they couldn't make him champion all the time, but they needed to keep him entertained. So they put Bret up against Hakushi and Jean-Pierre Lafitte, and they keep him busy until the point that they wanted to bring him back to. I think it was at the end of '95 where they had him against Kevin Nash at Survivor Series, but it's keep him busy up to that point. So that's what they should do with Roman. Send him off doing lots of little mini programs with different
Well,
people.
that's what I thought they were gonna do. Because
Yeah.
remember they
keep him
put him
busy.
against the Miz and stuff, and he was fighting
Yeah.
for the Intercontinental title, and then all of a sudden now he's back thrown. I don't know.
They just need to they need to treat it now as if he had his opportunity. Opportunity at the title, he failed. He's going to have some little mini. Someone else needs to step into the limelight. I just think it's a far more compelling story to have Daniel Bryan, the David versus Goliath, and think
Right.
about and him conquering the Beast. That would it's a biblical conquering, isn't it? You know, this kind of Daniel slays the Beast. It's kind of like, you know, you can you just think, how's he going to be able to do it? But you know that it's believable that Daniel Bryan can be. And also, I think Daniel Bryan, the way that he works, he'll think up an interesting way that he'll create that dynamic between this monster and this smaller guy. The way he will move in the ring and try and avoid the powerhouse, and he'll just be quick and nimble trying to do these flying knees and stuff. Yeah, it's just going to be so much better. And I'm tired of Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. Let's give it something new. And with Bobby Lashley coming back, who knows what could happen?
Who knows? So,
You know?
But that was the end of WrestleMania, folks, and you know, it was a very good WrestleMania. Like I said,
I give it a solid A. I give it a
Yeah.
solid A.
yeah, it's an A. It's an 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah. I agree.
I gave it when Mitch asked me yesterday, I said 7/8. And because there was surprises throughout it, and
And the matches overall were solid matches too.
Yeah.
solid, well presented, nice. It felt like a good WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The majority of everything was packaged very well and well delivered.
Yeah, thank you WWE for once.